Hey everyone, it's Trifasama, and I'm going to review all of the patch 14 weapons and give you my final thoughts on what I think about them, what needs improvements, and what's actually fine. Um, I guess first and foremost, I'll go over the Deathwatch stalker bolt rifle. So I guess I need the apothecary to check my eyes and fix my brain because clearly I didn't know the difference between a body shot and a headshot. So landing four successful body shots in short succession creates a small auspex scan, and the area cooldown is 8 seconds. So yes, I this is my fault. I just brain was not thinking when reading this. You literally have to hit the body and not the head in order to get the auspex scan. So it is very consistent, and it is quite useful now that I actually understand how it works. Um, The only downside is that you really want to run this with tactical simply because the ammo is kind of low. So you only have, 48 in the reserves and 18 in the capacity. Um, I believe, yeah, I do have the increased capacity to, the maximum ammo reserve of this weapon increased by 20%, which does help. But when you run it on tactical, you have Emperor's Vengeance and then Skilled Supplier, which definitely helps us a lot because you do burn through shots very quickly. And as you saw, you need to hit a total of 4 body shots consecutively in order to proc the Auspex scan. And the Auspex scan that it generates is actually really good. Um, so it is pretty useful. But I definitely recommend it on tactical, or if you want to run it on sniper, then you need to run versatile precision. Otherwise, you will burn through ammo very quickly. But this is a good weapon, especially now that I actually understand how it works. But one thing I did notice, actually experiencing it for myself, is that if an enemy is experiencing damage from something else, like say fire or shot grenades, for example, it won't trigger. I did use a pyroblaster cannon, and I did shoot at their body, even though they were blocking, and it wouldn't trigger. But every other time it did trigger, so it's a little weird that you have to aim at the body and not the head, even though it has a very nice headshot multiplier. But you can do that after you get the 4 body shots. The Auspex scan is procced, and then you just start shooting, and you'll down them pretty quickly. So it's a very good weapon, especially now that I know how it runs, how it works, I should say. So this one you should definitely get. Very strong weapon. Um, can't believe it took me that long to, whatever. Anyways, next weapon. The Salamander's Power Sword. So unfortunately, it does not do any burn damage, but the perk effect does make up for it. So you perfect parry to empower the blade and deal 300% more damage with the next light attack in speed style only. Hold up to 6 empower stacks, and the parry window is smaller. So it's similar to Argent Edge, where it's a fencing weapon but a smaller parry window, similar to, I believe, a balanced parry window. You can correct me if I'm wrong if it's a block parry window, but this is extremely strong. So you basically just parry, parry. You can just parry. You can parry up to 6 times. Well, it'll stack up to 6 times, and then every light attack you deal will be 300% more damage. And this is only for speed style. So if you swap to, um, I forget what the other one is, but if you swap, you're not going to gain the 300% buff. I mean, you should still swap, styles, just so you can get the damage buff that they have. Or let me see which one it was. I think it was, uh, yeah, combat style. So Master of Offense. After switching sword style, After switching sword combat style, you deal 20% more melee damage for 5 seconds. Cooldowns 10 seconds. So you should still switch. Like, you can still use the other style. I can't remember what it's called. I believe it's power stance or power style. You can switch to that for, like, if there's a group of enemies, like a bunch of Minoris, you can switch to that, and then once the cooldown is done, you can switch back to your speed style to gain an additional 20% buff on top of the 300% damage buff that this weapon is going to give you. So it's a very solid weapon. This is another one that you should definitely get, especially if you're a Salamanders fan. Unfortunately, I doubt they will ever make this have a burn effect, but it it being extremely strong makes up for it, in my opinion. So yeah, another solid weapon. Next, the Lord Executioner's Axe, a extremely fun weapon. Now, yes, as you can see, this does say it is a thunder hammer, even though it is an axe. It's practically an officially modded weapon because it still has the same execution as a hammer, but regardless, Aftershock is replaced by a powerful spinning attack, hitting 5 or more enemies with a single attack. Grants 1 adrenaline surge stack, so this is a block weapon. If you are facing a group and you don't have to fully charge it, which is the best thing, you can just charge it slightly and then just let go. You'll do a spin attack as opposed to 2 ground pounds. And if you hit 5 enemies, you gain 1 adrenaline surge. So if you already had one and you do this, you'll gain a second one and gain that damage buff. And if you have the Aftershock extended perk, let me just pull that up real quick. Let me find it. So if you have Seismic Change, after performing a ground slam, hold the attack button to perform an additional ground slam. And then Aftershock improved, Aftershock gains additional smash. So essentially, how this works is that you'll spin twice, and then you'll deal one final hit, and that AoE is like massive, especially when you have Shattering Impact. Easily the best hammer of the game. I'm honestly not going to run any other hammer. It's just that good. So you should 100% get it if you main Assault or Bulwark. Definitely worth it, especially if you're, a Blend Angels fan or one of their successor chapters. But yeah, those three are extremely solid. Now, on to the weapons that need more work, or sorry, more love. We can start with the Combi Flamer. So long story short, it just has an underbarrel attachment for a pyre canister. That's pretty. You just ADS, and it's just a pyre blast. Now, the flame. Now, the only thing with this one, and I don't believe it's intentional, is that you can't replenish the flamer portion off of ammo caches, which I feel like that's not intentional. I feel like that should only apply to the grenade launcher. I don't know if that's an oversight. It's glitched out. I think they should buff the damage of the bolt carbine for this weapon, because I'll be honest, I've stopped using the Combi Flamer. I just don't think it's like worth it anymore. Let me see, where's the one that I do? So this is the one that I like using, the Orphellian Liberation. This one's just solid overall. So if you look at the stats here, it has less ammo reserve. It does 2 less damage. The reloading speed is -1, but it does have more magazine capacity and better accuracy. But I don't know, I feel like it being 2 less damage actually just doesn't make it that strong. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad weapon, but I feel like they should maybe just raise the damage by just one firepower, and also just fix the flamer so that you can replenish it from ammo caches, because you could get, God, I can't remember the name of this weapon. You could get the bolt rifle Combi melta. You could replenish this with ammo caches, but I think even this is bugged too, where you can't even replenish the melta portion off of the ammo caches, which again, I do not think this is intentional. I think it's bugged, so I do hope they fix that. I didn't mean to do that. I do hope they fix that, because again, it's kind of holding it back slightly. So like, just fix that and the damage, and I think this is fine where it is. It's not a bad weapon. I just think they need to let you just get ammo for the flamer portion, because they've already nerfed burn damage stacking off of Auspex scan, so there really shouldn't be a worry of this weapon like being power crept or whatever. But it's still a fine weapon, but I'm just gonna wait to see if they fix that, because it's really useful against Tyranids when you're just swarmed by a group, and then you just pop out the flamer, and then you just don't have to worry about them because then you save the ammo for the bolt carbine portion. Okay, on to the next one, the Salamander's melta rifle. So I've been seeing discourse that people don't like this weapon at all. They think it's like the worst, it's terrible, blah blah blah. I don't think it's like terrible, but I do agree that they should buff the damage. So they made this slightly more lore accurate, where shots have increased range and an arrow spread, but need to charge before firing. The range is really nice. Like, you can fire this from a distance, but the damage is really not that great, and you're kind of shoehorned to run this on tactical for, again, tactical fixes the ammo economy issue with this weapon. So I think if they just up the damage by, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3, I think it'll be in a better spot. Definitely need better damage for DPS output for this one, and then I think this will be better. So I would say wait to get this one. This is not a priority right now. You can wait to get this. Um, yeah, I would wait and see for a hotfix because they definitely need to buff this. And the last one is the Deathwatch Power Fist. So pause after any light attack to enter a stance. That then light attack again to fire a Melta Blast that inflicts burn status. So some things about this weapon, all in all, it's mid. This is really not. I would save this for last, or just wait for them to buff the damage. So there's a few issues with this weapon. Um, it takes a good minute, not a good minute, but going into the stance, they should decrease the time it takes to enter it. That way you can fire this easier. Also, and I think they should fix this as well, because I feel like this doesn't make any sense. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you cannot gain contested health back off of the melta gun portion for this weapon. Which, again, it's part of the weapon, but if every other weapon that has an attachment works like that, fine, that's fair. But if it doesn't, then it should be consistent. But you can't gain contested health back off of the melta gun portion. They need to decrease the time it takes to enter the stance, even though you can enter the stance, or you can fire the melta gun before you fully enter the stance. It's still niche in a sense. Like, it's not terrible, but it is very mid. Like, I really want them to buff the damage of the melta gun and decrease the time it takes, and then I think this will make it better. Which sucks because it looks hella cool. Like, it really helps the drip, but this is definitely the weakest one. Like, these two are the weakest. This one is, like, borderline. These three are the best of this patch, essentially. But yeah, there you go. Those are my honest thoughts and review of the weapons. And if they ever buff them, which I would like to think they will soon, I'll make an updated video for these weapons going over the buffs and how I think they are now and what you should prioritize. But alright, that's enough of me yapping. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.